Hello and welcome back to Sprite Guard Plays Race the Sun. We are going to be right back at getting our objectives. I didn't even, once again, forgot to look what the objectives are, but these runs are so short, and the objectives early on are pretty easy, so we're just going to try and get a good run in to begin with, and then we'll see what kinds of things we get. So now we have the magnet attached to our craft, and so we're going to be getting pickups much more easily. Especially good on this map today because we have a lot of these clusters of tries that we're going to be passing, and some places where we don't really want to get too close to the tries. And that's already Region 1 knocked out a little bit sooner than I expected, but it actually makes this these endings a little bit easier, though still not trivial. It's actually pretty tricky to pick up the tries. So here, now we're going to start getting these tries that we were not getting before. And so that gives us an advantage. We can pick those up a little more easily. And now we have a jump, so we need to use it judiciously. We should be able to avoid the falling block hallways now. It's just that first one that's a little tricky to avoid, and it has some good stuff in it. We can't store jumps yet. That's an ability that we're going to gain later on. And we're on to Zone 3. And Zone 3 has some neat, kind of fun formations. Today's Zone 3 is pretty easy, pretty chill, so it's a nice little break after Region 2 being a little bit difficult. We're going to see, I believe, some lines of tilting blocks. Those were really difficult to get used to. Took me quite a bit of effort to learn how to do those. These are also quite tricky, and I straight up forgot to go around that part. So there are some real difficulties in level 3, but you can make a plan. And so we got some objectives. We want to reach 15 multiplier. That's a tricky one. And we might not be able to get it right away. We want to collide with 4 objects. That's very easy. Especially today's map actually gives us some opportunities to do that. We're going to skip that and hit that wall. You can hit things sideways without dying, and so there's 3 things collided with right there. Oh, 4 things already. And so now we need just a distance of 80,000. We can do that, and that's a cumulative distance, so that should be pretty easy. Now the only way I know of to get a 15 multiplier really easily, especially this early on, is with the warp zones, and I don't think we've unlocked warp zones yet. But those give you some pretty hefty bonuses. That was just a silly mistake. Even once you know a route, it can be tricky to execute sometimes. Usually not too difficult, but you saw those post alleys that were, they took some really careful execution to get through, and then of course you have to, once you've memorized the route, you have to call it to mind, and that can be its own kind of challenge. And I'm doing a lot of reading. I can play a lot on reaction. You do have quite a bit of time to react to things, and so we can tuck down here. I do have this memorized. But it's kind of like music where you have it memorized, but you're also reading it as you go to know where in the piece you are. I could not do this blindfolded. So we can see if we can unlock warp zones, but I'm not especially optimistic. Oh, especially if I get off and the post alley thing, you really have to stay near the middle and cut it very tightly, and that's why the execution is a little difficult. But we've already covered more than half of the distance that we need to get that one, and that will cause us to level up. And so we can just head along here, and probably as long as we get another clean run, we should be able to get that 80,000 distance and that level up without any problem. So it's just a matter of once again, playing it safe. Hopefully I will remember this time to avoid Post Alley. And I keep calling that, and the things that you crash into there, they are called post things. And it is kind of an alley, it is enclosed. And so that's why I call it that. But there's also, where I live, there is a famous alley called Post Alley that has some interesting theaters and coffee shops. And the Gum Wall, which is just this wall that was, I don't know if it's still there, but it was covered in chewing gum. Like many layers thick, and I forgot to avoid it again, but we survived, and that's fine. And that is what I have in the muscle memory. I have gotten through many levels doing this. This part, not so much. That's a new thing that I've started doing with this series. Don't know why I started doing it. I guess that jump is very tempting. And then we need to be a little careful with these windmills. I know one of them kind of drops you into a place. So we still don't have the warp zones unlocked. But I think we've covered plenty of distance. We should get that level up, and hopefully that will be the level up that gives us warp zones. Because those, the warp zone that I've been getting into with this map has been a huge amount of bonus. We're actually getting pretty close to 15 though, so we can see if we can navigate Region 3. Region 3 definitely has some real difficulties, but it also has some real opportunities. So these rolling blocks I find very difficult to anticipate, and there I've gone and lost us our multiplier. We do have a jump. I need to remember to use it. But these things right here, they give you some good tries, good multiplier bonus. That gives you a good multiplier bonus, and then you just have to jump there or do a really sharp turn. And we're getting lots of boosters as well, which are going to keep us well ahead of the sun. Hopefully we'll be able to get our multiplier built back up. There we are, back at 13. And so now Region 4 has some real scary stuff, but it has some opportunities as well. There's also these exploding things that we have to deal with. And, oh dear, these alley things, and that's a disappointment. These alley things really tricky to get through. I should not have gone in there. We're once again, okay, now our bonus is really low. So yeah, we're going to have to probably give it another go. Would be really nice if we could get into that warp zone, but not going to work out. Those sphere things really launch you. I'm thinking I want to make a level based on launches. This does have a level editor. It's kind of interesting because it's, it's you can kind of tell by the way the game plays that it's not going to be a traditional level editor. And we're covering a lot of distance already into Region 5. We can head through... Oh, forgot to jump there. Didn't think I needed to, which is why. So there we go. We got the distance of... Okay, so now we have the world portals. So now we have a really good chance of getting that 15 multiplier, because of the portal worlds tend to have really good try placement. So let's see if we can do that. And hopefully we get the same one that I was getting last night, because that was so free. But we'll have to see. The portals, I don't think, start appearing until Zone 2, so we just have to get through Zone 1. Not too much problem, have not been dying on Zone 1 hardly at all. And so then it's just a matter of remembering where the portals are. And so that'll take probably a little bit of feeling around, a little bit of remembering, because I haven't been into one in a little while. I think if we head down Post Alley, I think it sets us up to go into one pretty straight away. So we may want to jump over Post Alley with the jump that we've gotten. You know, we can go down it for as long as we can, and then just do a little jump. And then I think we want to swoop down here. Oh dear! Could not turn sharply enough. I turned a little bit too late. But it looks like we're very close to getting the 1 pip. And we may want to end it there and work on that 15 multiplier. Whoops! And I just nicked right off of that. You really get a launch from those. We missed out on a lot of tries that way. So we may be put a little bit behind on this one. I might want to crash and reset, but I feel like I want to play this a little bit differently when I'm playing it, you know, for an audience versus how I would play it on my own. I'm a very grindy player, and I'm trying to figure out, you know, what is a good way of playing very grindy games, because a lot of my favorite games and my favorite way of playing is this, you know, what I call true skill grind, where you're not leveling up your character, you're leveling up yourself and trying to get through something very difficult, doing this very repetitive task. And so, you know, I really want to share that true skill grind with you, but I'm not really sure the best way of doing that just yet. And that's something that I'm going to need to figure out. Let's get that jump. Oh, I do not know why the timing on those windmills sometimes doesn't work out. So there we go, we got one more. Let's see, jump 10 times, 15 multiplier. I really want to get into one of those portals, but it might not be in the cards today. So we'll give it one more shot, one more good try. Really try to play cleanly and not crash into things. And we will have to see how that goes. But I find this game so much fun. So I'm going to try and not do the really, like, because a lot of time what I'll do on my own is, you know, if I don't do everything kind of up to the standard that I want, I will crash and I will reset and I'll try again. And I'll just keep resetting and resetting. On and on and on, trying to get everything down perfectly. And I love doing that, but it's very difficult to structure an episode around that. And I went and kind of made a foolish choice. So I think that's where I'm going to wrap it up. Until next time, thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.